was reported back in May that Pan-African conglomerate Axian Group was in talks with MTN to acquire assets in Liberia, Guinea-Bissau, and Guinea-Conakry. Headquartered in Madagascar, Axian Group is a Pan-African conglomerate with active operations in real estate, telecommunications, finance, and energy sectors in 10 countries spanning the Indian Ocean and the African continent. Joining us now to discuss from Paris is the CEO, Hassan Hiridjee, who, of course, is the 2022 African CEO of the Year, and we also was part of a panel discussion with us at the African CEO Forum in Abidjan. Hassan, you're very welcome. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you again. So this news that your group is in talks to acquire assets from MTN in these African countries, what can you give us some more info and some more clarity on that, how the talks are going?
Good morning, Reuters, and thanks for inviting me to the show. Yes, it's public information that we're in exclusive discussion with the MTN Group for the potential acquisition of 3 of their operations in West Africa, namely Conakry, Liberia, and Guinea-Bissau. We have done extensive work on the ground. We wanted to make sure that we understand the countries, the economies, the assets, and also to see the setup, to see the teams, and what value creation plan we can bring, and what can we do to make sure that we're unlocking the potential and the value of those economies, and particularly on the digital side. So we've done a lot of work on the ground, and we've done good progress.
Fantastic. So I guess how will the assets work out for you in the long run, I guess, if you do wrap up the deal?
No, what's very important for us is, as I was telling you earlier, we want to make sure that we're bringing value to the customers, that we're bringing investment in the country, that we're creating jobs, that we're going to make sure that the government, the regulators, and ourselves are aligned in terms of policies, in tax policies, regulation, and that we grow the potential of what can be achieved in terms of digital transformation.
All right. And last week, Hassanein, we had a sub-Saharan African research analyst on our show saying that telecommunications sector is the hottest sector in Africa for growth. Well, what's your take on that? Do you agree?
Of course, absolutely, Rotus. You know me, first, I'm an Afro-optimist. This is the first thing. And second thing, I mean, we're seeing the tremendous impact that we're having thanks to telecommunication on the African continent. I would say that today we will be sure that we'll leapfrog the economies, we'll leapfrog all our countries by having a strong digital transformation happening on the ground. Just take any example of any sector, and you'll be sure that you're seeing the great impact of telecommunication in terms of energy, in terms of financial services. We're talking a lot about mobile money. Mobile money has just changed tremendously the way we interact with our bank, the way we transfer money, the way we're just taking loans, making savings. So this is just the start of a great adventure for the digital transformation on the continent. Now we're talking about 5G, we're talking about AI, we're talking about blockchain, and all those things will unlock a lot of values for the African economies, for the African customers. This is very, very important. I'm a strong believer that we started with voice, but now with the data penetration that is increasing, with the increasing coverage in all of our countries, and with the new product and services, will help the customers and the economies to accelerate the potential.
Great stuff. As far as that potential is concerned, the triggers for growth in telecoms, is it all about the population of Africa and 5G internet connectivity, or are there other triggers?
So the biggest trigger for the potential for our economies first, of course, is we're enjoying in Africa young population with a lot of potential and a lot of talents, and that is very important. And this will help us also to grow the curve of our businesses. The second point, which is the most important for me, is that we want to make sure that ourselves, the operators, the telecom players, with the government, with the regulation, we're sharing a common vision, a common goals to make sure that we're bringing change, we're bringing disruption to the customers. And this is very important. When I'm hearing today that in certain of our countries, in certain of our economies, still some regulators are bringing some too much taxation or not helping the regulation to accelerate the development, this is quite challenging. And I think that this is very important to be sure that we'll be there for the customers and to bring new products and services, new transformation. We need the support of public policies. We need them to give us incentive, to help us to invest more, to create more jobs, to pay more tax. But we must be aligned on the common goal. This is key point.
Very, very key point. So do you try to speak with regulators? Do you schedule any meetings with them? Do you have dialogue as far as you're concerned? I guess do you see enough dialogue between the private sector and regulators for for unity going forward?
No, we're having meetings with the regulators individually when we travel in all of our countries. We're having good discussion in terms of the challenges of the industry, in terms of the challenges of quality of services, in terms of the new technologies that are coming to make sure that we're getting early adoption for the markets, for the customers. We're having good discussion. Plus, we've got a good support of GSMA, the GSM Association, where there is some public discussion by continent and globally, and they're helping us very well also to edit some reports, to share and compare notes with the regulators, with the ministers, with the government, and this is doing very well. But it's very important for us to make sure that we're all aligned on the same path.
Fantastic. Can you fill us in on any other deals you're looking at, I guess, in real estate, finance, or energy? Can you give us a scoop?
Rotus, I would say that I'm bringing scoop every day because we're very active in terms of infrastructure and services on the continent. We're bringing change and impact in the day-to-day life of all of our customers. Digital inclusion, financial inclusion, and energy inclusion. And this is the scoop. Recently, we just finalized some capital increase in our business, WeLife, thanks to the support of some international DFIs. We're building microgrids in remote rural places of Africa. We want to make sure that we'll increase the electricity penetration rate on sub-Saharan Africa. Today, we would say we are at 30-35% average approximately, and we want to increase that with decentralized, decarbonated, and totally digitalized experience for our customer. So WeLight is doing great. We've done approximately 200 villages in Madagascar. We're doing villages in Mali, and now we're considering new places, for example, in Nigeria.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Finally, are you worried about any headwinds that could deter investment coming into Africa for the second half of this year?
Listen, Rotus, I mean, everybody knows that there are huge challenges with inflation. First, the population is struggling now to get access to commodities because prices are soaring. This is very difficult. For ourselves, for corporates, because of the inflation, we're seeing that the interest rates are exploding. Originally, I was saying 2 years ago and last year, African economies have a problem of financing. African governments have a problem of financing. But now, more than this problem of financing, we're seeing an increase of interest rates. And this is problematic because we need to finance our infrastructure. We need to finance our development. And if we don't find a solution to get more finance and to reduce the cost of those debt, this is going to be very challenging.
Great conversation. Hassan Hiridjee, the CEO of the Axian Group. Thank you so much for joining us on the Global Business Report. Really appreciate your time.